Hi everybody, Doug here, LS Car Customs, coming to you from my shop in New York with the latest internet star, white toes in the background. Figured some people have been saying in the comments they'd like to see some work video. I mean, I think it's boring to watch somebody hammer and grind, and I think people are more into the, well, let's see what you got to do and let's see how you did it and let's see how it's finished. But we're working on this jam, and you kind of, yeah, I know the door needs oil, but once we get it all the way it's supposed to be, the squeaky wheel will get the grease. But I temporarily tack everything about where I want it. I gotta keep putting pieces in there and a little hammering, a little stretching, and then you keep closing the door, making sure not to close your cat's foot in the door, just to make sure everything is still working. So now that I got that kind of coming along, in order to do a little more work on the jam, I've got to fix this bottom and lock it to the rocker so it's not going to go anywhere. So we're going to, I'll go off the rocker to measure where the bends have to be in order to line up with the rocker, and then attach to the floor here. And I'll make up that piece and I'll show you how that's going to fit in there. I'll bring you back. Now we measured out what we needed, and we've got it mapped out on this piece of metal, where to bend it and where to cut it. So I'm going to cut this piece off, take it out to my cheap little Harbor Freight metal brake, bend up the bends I need, and I'll show you how that turns out. Okay, so the way this brake works, it's got a big plate here, and you line up your marks where you want to bend it, and then clamp the plate down, and then you just make your bend. This bend has to go a little past 90 degrees. And you loosen these up. And you wind up with your first bend. Now this other bend has to be bent up. So I marked it on the back side. And it'll be a little goofy to start because I've got that angle there. Just gotta ride up a little bit until it starts to bend, because we don't have a fancy metal brake here. I swear to God, I'm gonna clean my bench one of these days. You know, that's the thing about garages, is that if you've got a flat surface, it becomes a table. And then everything in your shop winds up on that flat table. But we'll start out, this has to be kind of a soft bend also, you know, because it's sort of a rounded bend as it comes off of the rocker panel. So you don't want a hard 90-degree bend on this when you make it. So basically we'll sneak up on this and keep it lined up with our mark there. A little bit more here. And like that. And this one goes less than 90 degrees. So you don't want to go too far with it. Like that. And wind up with the makings of a lower quarter panel. And I'll bring you in there and show you what more we've got to do to it and make it fit. Okay, so now we're down here where the panel has to go in and fit the panel up there. So we have to cut out where the door is in order to attach it. And you have a relief here in the rocker that the metal will slide over and butt up to. And the only thing I'll do is on this bottom piece I'll cut out a little piece there so that I can slide onto that relief and then butt up against this piece here. The other thing I had to do lightly, which English wheel would come in handy for, is I had to round the piece a little bit because there's no completely flat metal on a 57 Chevy. It's all rounded in some way or shape. So I put a slight round in that piece. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that tool I showed in an earlier video and I'm going to make a relief along the top of that. It'll serve two purposes. One, it'll stiffen the panel up and then I can lap weld it where it's cut off here, and I'll show you how I do that. So we've cut out the spot for the door opening and clamped her on there even with the inner rocker of the floor, so we know we're in the ballpark. So this will be the next step here. Pull this piece off. And I've got this tool here that makes a relief for lap welding in the metal. And you just line it up on there and make sure you do it the right way for what you want. And you just go along. And it makes a relief in there for lap welding. I don't know if you can see it, but when I get it done, I'll show you how it's going to work when I put it on the car. So I don't know how well it'll show up on the camera, but I've made my relief in the patch panel, and what I want to do now is I'll take my Sharpie and run it along where the panel ends. So what I want to do is pull this panel off. See where I made that line. Now what I want to do is come down just below this line and cut it off all the way across so that this piece will lap over this piece and fit into that relief, and then weld will run along the bead between the two of them, and it'll give us a nice even weld that when we grind it you won't even see where it was joined. So I'll cut that piece off, clamp this piece on and I'll show you what we're going to do from there. Alright, so now that we got the piece in there about where we like it, we're going to go through and tack the thing on there. And what you want to do is skip around so you don't build up too much heat in one place. That's basically how I do it. I just keep skipping around so I don't build up heat and make the panel want to wave back at me. We'll go through, tack it here, tack it along the door here, along the rocker, and then down along the bottom, and I'll show you how that looks, and then we'll grind it and see how that looks. But I know there was some people who wanted to see a little bit of the process of working on it, so careful what you wish for. Well, we got most of the welding done. It's made our quarter a lot more solid than it was. The door closes with a more satisfying thud, which is good. We've lined this up pretty good with our existing rocker panel. So, give you a look at this here. You can see we've plug welded it all along the bottom there, and it lines up with our rocker panel. And like I say, we did our lap weld there, so this is fairly even and stiff now, back into good metal. And all we have to do now is make a piece for this fender lip to curl under and meet the piece we just made, and close in the rest of this rocker. Close that in on the inside. But come on, focus. That piece doesn't have to be made right now. I just wanted to make this piece here because it would help stiffen up the jamb that I'm trying to work on. I had to do the same thing on the other side because I don't want it moving around when I have to cut and bend and finagle it into looking like something. So there's a little bit of the process. I'll bring you back when I do a little more work. Well, looks like we got double trouble here. We all know White Toes, but the other boy there, he's an outside cat, and he doesn't have a name. So feel free to, hey, wake up, look over here. feel free to suggest a name for White Nose's pal. Anyway, we got a little bit done today. Like I said, I tried to show a little more of the process for those who wanted to see it, compared to, you know, those who like the instant gratification of seeing it done. But this is what we got. So we close that all up. I just got one more section there to do, and I've got to do that inner lip, but that stiffened everything up to the point where we're in good shape now. And door still closes good, and the gap is fair. I can still adjust the door up, down, in or out as I need to. But putting that panel down in the bottom cinched up the quarter panel so it wasn't wiggling around while I was trying to weld things in and adjust the door. So with that said, I appreciate everybody stopping by the garage, and hope everybody's having a good day. Like, comment, whatever advice you have for me, all ears. And criticism, complaints, anything like that, you know, I'm a big boy, I can take it. So it all is going to go towards making this project come out better in the end. So I appreciate everybody watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Till then, take care of yourselves. See ya.